Word Balloon is brought to you by the League of Word Balloon Listeners.
Every part of comics and artwork is a form of communication with other people. It's not just here, let me direct my thoughts at you as a dictation of concept, but it's hoping to convince you of how cool you think a visual could be or a story could be. And you're trying to communicate ideas. And in one part storytelling, in greater part just graphic impact, you're hoping to relate a sense of energy, urgency, and enthusiasm to people. That there's a lightning of spirit that comes out of superheroes that has always worked for me. That it isn't really about the practicality of what they might do. It's not the practicality about grown men punching each other in costumes. It really isn't about that. It's a visual metaphor. And that metaphor could be for a lot of things, but it's mostly just about the energy and enthusiasm that can be found in the fun of life.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. It's time again for Word Balloon, the comic book conversation show, and sometimes television conversation show. John Suntress here, welcoming Joe Henderson back to Word Balloon with his Wonder Woman mug. Great to see you, Joe, and great to see Lucifer back. 5B season, unbelievable. Well done, man.
Thank you.
And as you've described it, really, you made this to be one big long storyline, 5A and 5B, really.
Yeah, it's been a relief to get 5B out there. One, because we shot it like a year and a half ago, most of it. And two, just because it is two parts of a whole. 5A and 5B are meant to be watched together. And a lot of the things we set up in 5A, which might have felt a little unsatisfying or frustrating, I think people now see where we were building to in 5B and why we had to do certain things. Like a lot of people were frustrated with Maze's progression in particular in 5A. And it's because it was half an arc. And you see the rest of the arc in 5B.
And Ella as well. I mean, God,
yes.
Still haunted by the relationship and weirdness of the, dating a serial killer. Poor Ella. My God. And of course, now we're spoiling. We should get that out front. I think a lot of you are already aware of that. In fact, the title of the show is that it is a spoiler review. So we're going to spoil it all. And poor Dan.
Poor Dan. Dan is the character we love to torture every year, and this is the year we literally tortured him the most.
Yeah, man. Jesus. Although, anything can happen in Lucifer. It's been shown. I mean, Mom came back, so who's to say that, and again, we certainly, where things have been left.
Anyone on this probably knows that Kevin Alejandro is in season 6.
Okay.
So I think it's safe to say that in a show about heaven and hell and gods and devils, Dan Espinosa's story has not quite completed.
Agreed. Understood. Dan, Joe, you got a million questions waiting for you. Good Lord.
Here are the comments. I was in the private chat. I was like, no one's talking. Oh, cool.
Oh, no. Yeah. Good Lord. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No. Everyone's come with lots of
I don't understand why they have questions. We answered absolutely everything.
Oh, God. So I remember last year you telling me that your favorite episode of 5B was Family Dinner. Does that still stand?
I mean, it's my favorite episode that I've done. I've actually just started rewatching because I haven't watched a lot of the episodes for a while. It's my favorite episode that I wrote, and I love it for a lot of reasons. I just finished watching Naked and Afraid again, the Dan Espinosa episode. Whew, it's so good. That's so good. I love that one. I love the musical.
Yeah.
I love the finale. 515 I don't love because it makes me sad. I mean, I love it, but I don't. It's not one I want to rewatch that much because I don't want to cry all the time. and I love May's Eve. They're all my children. They're all beautiful. But Family Dinner definitely has my favorite scene when it comes to that 14-minute dinner.
Really, well, that's the thing. The whole family relationship and everything. Everybody, Haysbert was so great as God, and I'm so bummed that we may not see him come back.
He fit in like he'd been on the show all along. It's funny. It's like you bring God in, and it's a really tricky thing. And when he showed up on set, it was like he'd been on the show the whole time. He just finally decided to step forward. And part of that was he had this wonderful relationship with DB. DB was instrumental in getting Dennis because we just didn't even know if we could get him, and DB just reached out to him. So, and it's funny because we were talking about Dennis. DB was like, "Have you thought about him for this?" And we're like, "We have. We're just not sure if he's gettable." And he's like, "Well, I kind of talked to him about it last week." so we're hugely grateful to him for that. And he was just lovely. He was awesome, and he had the mixture of gravitas and twinkle in the eye that you wanted from the father of Amenadiel and Lucifer and everyone else.
Well, and also for the humans to relate to God and have this, I mean, it really was this vicarious thrill, honestly, as a viewer, to have humans meet God.
Yes.
And, really like, everybody was terrific on that. Yeah, it was great catching all the different vibes and fears. And, I mean, Ella's conversations with them were great. And, God, the entire thing. It was great.
Well, so much of it was in the first half setting up everyone's insecurities in ways that God could ping off of. And I mean, like the moment we remembered that Dan had previously dated the goddess, which was very early on, but it was like we had given season 2 gave season 5 us a gift that we didn't know we were giving. And Absolutely. We were like, oh, this is amazing. This is great because even God might get a little jealous of someone.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah, you dated my wife. It's like, yeah, I guess.
Were you watching when we were?
That's awesome. Pauline Allard wants to know how long is the time jump? Is there a time jump for season 6?
There is a time jump. It is a length of time.
Attaboy. Very good answer. Absolutely. And she wants you to pay for her therapy after 5
That's fair. That is fair.
I completely understand.
Please send all bills to the Bruckheimer Productions, care of Jerry. I'm winking a lot. I don't know why.
Susan, why did Michael urge Chloe to kill him when she had the blade at his throat? Do it, he said. And if
that is a great. I love that question.
Yeah,
I think Michael at that moment, 1, realized he had lost, but 2, I think Michael really hates himself. I think Michael has a lot of self-love issues in a parallel way to Lucifer. And I think in that moment, mixed with the guilt, like I think he killed Chloe on instinct and in a moment, but I think also he realized just how far he'd fallen. And I like to think there's a version of Michael who was actually kind of happy that he lost and happy that he got the shit kicked out of him.
Yeah, Susan wondered if there was a moment of regret. I think on Michael's face,
That's how I saw it. I feel like that's how Tom played it. And I think it was an important part of his journey that he is our villain and our antagonist, but he is his own hero too. He's his own person.
Really, Tom playing both Lucy and Michael, I mean, really just kept the ball rolling from 5A, and it's really
amazing. And the family dinner scene, I mean, dear Lord. By the way, major kudos also to the acting double we used. I cannot remember his name right now, but he was amazing because we also had someone always sitting in for Tom, and we needed someone who could actually act and actually bring something. And you don't see his performance at all because Tom is recorded over all of it, but that guy saved our butts because Tom needed someone to be able to play off of. And so much of it is him having to play off of himself, but because we had that actor, it was amazing. But God, Tom, this season hopefully shows everyone just how good Tom Ellis is.
Oh my God, yeah, and I mean, really, beyond the musical singing, the singing at Dan's funeral, everything. My God, it's multifaceted. I mean, seriously, I can only imagine the projects that Tom has waiting for him in the future and everything. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. Let's see. In the Noir episode, Gertie says, I'd rather die than trying to save the man I love than live forever without him. That's not just a coincidence. It's what Lucy decides too. That's a fair statement.
Yes. Thank you. Good eye.
There you go. And yeah, I think that was concern for Michael
Yes.
after stabbing Chloe. He thought Lucy would attack in anger.
Oh, that could be. I think it's interpretable, and I think it is that sort of idea. To me, it's like he did something and afterwards thought about it, and afterwards realized what he'd done. But I think that's a fair interpretation.
And Erica's very nice. She wants everyone to like the video, everybody, because it does kind of help my analytics here on YouTube and everything.
John's a huge supporter.
Well, and seriously, Joe's a champ for showing up and taking our questions as he does
mostly pity for John. So
it's true.
No, I'm a long-time listener and viewer.
Hey, man.
So
we knew each other when
yes, we did.
We go back on the Bennett's board when we're both struggling younger men. So
damn right. Why was Mom still in Charlotte's body? I'll take that one really quick.
Okay, is that at the bottom there? Is that one of the new ones?
It just was. I'm just scrolling. So one, because we wanted to bring Trisha Helfer back, and two, it's the only earthly vessel we've ever seen. So we just felt like, honestly, I just wanted to bring Trisha Helfer back, and I believe the last time I was on this podcast, I lied to John's face and said that Trisha was not coming back because I have realized that lying is good if it protects the viewers from a nice surprise.
Absolutely.
And that was one that we really fought hard to keep, that Trisha was amazing at keeping. But we just wanted the iconography, the woman that we've known who was the goddess and the man that we've come to know as God, visually together.
Now someone asks here, Hide on Bush, is Michael in season 6? I want to expand that and say, I love seeing the Pantheon of Angels, and it was really great seeing more of them show up and everything, and just be involved, whether they were just watching the fight or the potential for more interesting stuff. So yeah, what's the
I can answer that. What I will say is Michael is in season 6. He's not as much a driving force. Michael's story is pretty much done. Whenever we do a season, we try to tell beginning, middle, and end. We will see him in season 6, but season 6 is about something else.
All right, fair enough. I mean, God, obviously, we're, Lucifer's in charge. Hell on earth, if you will. Potentially.
Well, I got a good one. God confessed that he was never angry at Lucy. In fact, found the idea of rebellion adorable. They never gave him answers why he kicked Lucifer out. I mean, I think to me, God, working in mysterious ways, realized that Lucifer needed to find his own path. And so he basically decided that Lucifer, there was not room in heaven for two alphas to a certain extent, to two banging heads. And so whether rightly or wrongly, I think he sent him on the only journey that Lucifer could go on to find himself.
Will the immortality ring play a big role in season 6?
No.
Fair enough.
It's done. It used up its juice. It is now a lovely keepsake.
How about the flaming sword, which is hilarious, by the way, and of course,
the flaming sword. By the way, the flaming sword is something that we're really excited to bring back, because it's a huge flaming sword. It's a toy we had, and then we realized we were bringing Mom back. We were like, oh, this is kismet. This makes sense. So, I mean, all I'll say is it's still around. So, and by the way, a lot of people are asking how Michael used the flaming sword if Lucifer's a Lightbringer. We talked about that a whole bunch. My thinking is Lucifer jump started it when he used it in season 2, so now it's got the juice, and so now Michael can wield it as well. That's my canon. We debated it a bunch, and ultimately we went with mostly because it's cool. You could argue also that maybe Michael has his own Lightbringer side to him. We talked about that a little bit, where it's like, hey, maybe part of it is that they are two sides of the same coin. Maybe Michael in another life could have been the Lightbringer, could still be the Lightbringer. I leave it to you guys to decide.
And I got to acknowledge when Trixie found out that her father was dead. Well done, man. Heartbreaking. Yeah. Hey, seriously.
So that was Ildy's first scene that she directed of the first episode of television she ever directed, and wow, like everything's easier after that. And she just directed the living crap out of it. Scarlet, like a lot of time I've been teasing. We have a lot of really cool Scarlet stuff in the back half. Now she gets to do everything from sit on a bench and talk to God to break your ever-loving hearts.
Yeah. No, harsh, man. And well played. Everybody really acted the hell out of that. It was pretty amazing. Yeah. Let's see what.
Oh, is there any Okay, so I will give you the honest answer to the three-piece suit, classic suit of Doom, which is it was 6 months in between shooting the Heaven sequence and the next thing, and people forgot. So you can do whatever headcanon you want. I like to say that it burned up when he landed in Heaven, but the honest truth is that it was supposed to be a 2-day break, and it was a 6-month break, and you just missed some things. And that was one that we realized while we were shooting, and then we're like, what are you going to do? The fans that notice it will notice it, and most people won't. But the ones that do, that's your little behind the scenes. We went from shooting in March to shooting in end of September, and we were trying to just survive COVID. And I think the crew did an amazing job doing that. We were one of the first shows up in LA, and we were just trying to keep everyone safe.
Understood. A lot of people are asking, why did Dan wind up in hell? And I'm assuming
good question.
I'm assuming that's going to be a season 6 question. Obviously,
it's a season 6 question, and it's a little bit of a season 5 question, so I can dance on it a bit because, I mean, the answer is that question is the question Lucifer is asking. That is the mystery that he's trying to solve, because it doesn't make sense to him either. That's why Naked and Afraid was so important, was showing Dan come to peace with his actions, come to peace with the world. He had a just darn epiphany, and he still went to hell. Why doesn't the world work right? That is a question that we are going to carry over.
Sure, and assuming that's one of the reasons why, again, that Lucifer wants to be God.
Yes, exactly.
And that's fascinating. No, really, man, the religious nuts must hate you. Good Lord, the devil has become God.
It's funny. I've only gotten one person that I've noticed. I'm sure I have a filter on my Twitter, so I see a lot of stuff, but I'm sure there's stuff I don't see. Only one person really hit me hard on it and was like keeps tweeting me about it, because for one, the story's not over. And two, it's like they're like, oh, you diminished God by saying that he's fallible and Lucifer's better than him, and that's not the story we're telling. And to anyone who feels that way, I say wait and see, because the story ain't done yet. We got plenty more story to tell. But it is more than anything else. It's more of a story of fathers and sons, and a son trying to step into his father's shoes. But even anyone who feels a little theologically challenged by that, we have more story to come.
Fair enough. Someone was asking too if we'll see more of Lucifer supporting Trixie in season 6. He was so hurt seeing her like this. Oh yeah, heartbreaking, man.
Yeah, that was hard. We will see more Trixie in season 6. We don't have a ton of her, but we have some stuff that you will find very rewarding.
Excellent. Is Michael stuck on Earth now since he doesn't have wings anymore?
That's a very interesting question. He's somewhere, I assume.
Oh God!
But you're right. He doesn't have wings, so wherever he's probably not able to get very far.
Let's see here. I'm looking. Any significance to the fact that when Michael stabbed Chloe in the womb by a staff made from the Tree of Life? Is there any significance to that?
We talked about it a whole bunch. I'm guessing there was a lot of thought to that regard. I think also we were looking for a wound that would just be visible and also seem like it could kill her, but also give her time to have her epiphany. But I do believe that was part of our conversation too, is hitting sort of that thematic.
Oh, this is interesting. Any chance we might see a John Constantine cameo?
We talked about it, and honestly, doing the crossover was so hard to do and pull off that we decided it was best just to leave it as is. That character is forging his own path in Legends of Tomorrow, which is awesome, by the way. And it just felt like that was enough. And also because we only had the last season, we wanted to focus as much as possible on our characters.
Here's a good one. On the musical episode, did you take any inspiration from Disney animated films in terms of choreography and or aesthetics? If so, what were those films?
You know what? That is, I wish I could answer that. That's a Sherwin Shalati and Ildy question.
Okay.
But my guess is yes. I mean, they very much approach every single musical section very differently, and with different aesthetics and with different tones. And I'm sure that was in a lot of the DNA.
I really felt like, and truly, I don't mean to pit show against show. But when you go from Buffy to what they did in the CW sing-alongs to this and stuff, I was not concerned. I was just wondering. I'm like, all right, is it going to work, or is it going to feel like Glee when you guys do your covers on your musical thing? And no, you guys pulled it off. It was really entertaining and fun and exciting and very dynamic. It was great.
Thank you. It was very important to us to have similar to Buffy, where there is a story-based reason where everyone's singing. And once we got to God, that seemed fun. And then once we also came to the realization that it might be out of God's control, that's where we felt like we really had something. Because what you do is it's once again Dad manipulating everyone, Dad's mysterious ways. And to be able to have that turn at the end, that his mysterious ways are actually turning back on him, that was incredibly helpful.
Absolutely cool, man. Yeah. That's... Marina wants to know.
Great.
The Hammer Time dance. I never laughed harder with this show. I'm
going to say me, but honestly, it could have been anyone in the room. We got to the end of the season, and so much of the season was, and at the point we thought it was a series finale, was wrapping everything up. And we wanted God to be there one more time, and that was a big part of it. And we just realized, we need to stall. What else do we want to do with stalling with? And then it was like, what if we get a song? And I believe first it was actually Ice Ice Baby. And I think we couldn't get that song. And which often happens is you try to go for one song and then you get the one that's so much better for the moment. And when we got to Hammer Time, and honestly, most of that was just backing up from wanting Michael to yell stop and then have them riff off of it. But that was just a delight for us. And it was one of those moments where that was like day 1 or 2 back in shooting after being on hiatus for 6 months. And I feel like it really gave us all a shot in the arm for our show to be silly and weird in the middle of COVID and remind ourselves that we make a show that is about angels and demons, but is funny and uplifting and silly and as absurd as that.
That's cool. This is interesting. Yeah, what was the point of the prisoners in the bus?
Where do you think those demons came from? Boom. The fun of it was, and by the way, initially that was going to be, I'm just going to get behind the scenes, that was going to be a much larger army, but because of COVID, everything got pared down. But the fun of it was, here's this weird random opening, a bunch of people randomly die, how could that possibly tie into anything? And then, we've established that demons can pop into bodies, as last seen in the season 5 premiere, so they get themselves a little bit of backup with a bunch of demon convicts. And we needed a bus full of people who definitely went to hell, so ta-da.
Understood.
God never answered why hell didn't need a warden. It's a very interesting question.
God, I just had that, and then everyone's asking so many fast questions. That was good. No, you're all good, bud. So he wanted Lucy to become a god all along, and that's why he was relieved from duties of hell as he released It's time for him to take over. All right.
We have one more season.
Fair enough. There you go. I loved Maze and Eve's relationship, and Maze is just search for a soul, and God's answer to that.
That was one we put a lot of our own sort of heart into very much. Maze's story towards finding her own self. The whole show is about self-love. The whole show is about accepting yourself as much as accepting the people around you. And Maze is especially tricky because she's got this one thing no one else has. And it was important for us to sort of hit the idea that who knows how long she's had a soul. She might have had it the whole time. She might have grown it day one. All that matters is who she is and whether she loves to her fullest. And she does.
Very cool. Iris has a good question. Do people, when they go to heaven, this is interesting, forget their pain according to the series? Because when Chloe saw Lucifer, she seems to have forgotten about him. But as soon as she saw him, she remembered. I love that scene with her father. Again, as someone whose parents are no longer here, it's like those are truly those wish fulfillments of God. I really hope I get to be with them again and share moments and stuff like that. That was just beautiful.
Thank you. It was so nice to do. And it was also nice because John Decker is played by Leslie Ann Brandt's husband, Chris Gilbert. So that was really nice. Just to have him back. So it was like a sort of homecoming in two ways. And he's just a lovely guy and he's a great actor. But to the question, the way we sort of thought about it is in heaven, your pain goes away unless you want it back. Like, it's not to say that it's like, you're anesthetized from pain, but like to a certain extent, like heaven allows you a bit of distance, a bit of a step away, unless you want to embrace it. And Chloe's still learning the rules. She's still new there. so she hasn't quite learned how to navigate yet. Whereas you see Lee's got a lot more control over himself. He's figured things out. So because we didn't want heaven to be this place where like you forget everything and you're just sort of lobotomized. But at the same time, you know, if you're in heaven and everyone's down on earth, and you should miss them. And so it was really just trying to find the happy medium between making heaven a place you'd want to be to, but also not making it painful.
Fair enough. Here's a technical question from Burnett. Why was the theme song different for the 15th episode?
Oh, did we go silent? I can't remember.
I can't either, actually.
What was it? What was it, MM Burnett?
Yeah, give us more context, man. And while we're thinking of that, I wanted to point out how much I enjoyed seeing John Glover in Family Dinner. Big fan.
John and I have been Twitter friends for a while, and
wow.
And he's just awesome. And so I've kept trying to find something for him. And then when this came up, I needed a dad character to balance out Dennis Haysbert, which isn't easy. And it's funny because I was like, I've got John Glover. I want him to play like something supernatural or something big crazy. And I was like, it's actually really cool if John Glover is the head of a mini golf family. Because for one, it's not something he plays very often. But two, you look at him and you're like, they've got John Glover. He must be the killer. He must be the bad guy. And then three, he very much feels an equal in heft and in weight. And that was really important for Lucifer to be able to project his father onto him.
That's great, man. That's excellent. Here's an interesting question. Does Azrael ever get to keep her blade? Seems like everyone else has it except her.
We're going to start calling it everyone except for Azrael's blade. She had it for millennia, and now she's really just sharing, guys.
And Carla wants to know if the Dan episode drew any inspiration from the Buffy episode, the Zeppo.
You know, I think way back when, yes. I think we've been wanting to do this since season 3. And actually, we were going to do it season 3, and then Kevin directed an episode, and so he obviously was not available to act in it. Or I mean, he could, but it's too much to ask of someone. But I think that is probably one of the places it started. And then over the last couple seasons, it has become its own thing. But yeah, I mean, the Zeppo's amazing. So there's no way it's not.
People are wondering with Chloe having the immortal ring, if she is now immortal.
You know, I will answer that. The immortality brought her back. See, that's the only way that someone like a soul can't go back, except for the fact that had that immortality, that life essence, you could say. And the life essence is what allowed her to return.
And Eva wants to know if Lucifer's going to lose his mojo now that he's God.
It's an interesting question.
Yeah, I think great power, great responsibility. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, it'll be very fun seeing Lucifer in the driver's seat like that, and what he does to the world in making it better.
It's terrifying.
Yes, indeed. It's fantastic. Absolutely. As always, I love when the red eyes show up.
Yes.
And he's about to kill somebody, and then Emmanuel walks him back and everything. It was some great moments like that. Is Chloe going to know about Lucifer's sacrifices?
Yes. And you guys are going to love it.
There you go. And yeah, people are asking when will Chloe learn that Lucifer killed his brother and everything.
You know, I think Chloe knows and learned at some point. It was one of the things we talked about, but it just, since she didn't really know him, it felt like a story that she didn't need to necessarily know, other than the fact that obviously it was to protect her. But it's just one of those things that amongst everything, we had other stories to tell.
Okay. And Rowan says you had a great cameo. Well done.
Yes. If anyone wants to know, by the way, it's hard to tell because I had to shave my beard for my role. But in 516, I am one of the demon prisoners. My head gets lopped off, and I go.
That was your head.
That was me. I think my back was broken for 3 days after doing all of those. You have to I had to run up and then let my body just fall limp. And this body is not used to doing much more than sitting right here. So, but it was so fun. It was awesome.
That's excellent, man.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Here's a good one. Who is the villain of season 6? The villain of season 6.
I kind of assumed as much.
Really excited about that.
Yeah, I can appreciate. Let's see here. You know, I loved that you guys were shooting in the Coliseum. That was amazing.
And again, that was, I mean, lucky, I guess you could say, in a weird way, because it was COVID. Like we actually were supposed to shoot the Mount Wilson Observatory, which is this amazing location. It's the highest point in LA or LA County or California or I don't know what, but it's it was surrounded by wildfires and luckily is fine, but we moved to the Coliseum and it was also just the best possible situation. Coliseum's huge. We had plenty of room to put everyone in COVID and be able to survive all that.
Mom and Dad are both the only ones calling Lucy the Lightbringer. Other angels don't know why he is called that. Not even Lucy. Will season 6 explore on him being the Lightbringer?
Not really, but I love that question. That is a really great insight, and I appreciate it. I think it's one of those things where a mother and father give their child a nickname and or a way of seeing them that I think is very reflective of who the character is.
Okay. Kelly wanted to know, is there any reason why Maze looks like her mother?
It's a great question. To me, this is just my headcanon. It's because Maze was her mother's favorite. And because Maze was the closest to her mother, which is probably the thing that haunted Maze the most, because her mother ultimately was such a tragic figure.
What did Lucifer say to Dan? What is it here? What did Lucifer say to the guy that killed Dan? AKA in the Supernatural universe.
Good question.
I like it. There you go. I love when you do that, man. That's fantastic. Seriously. Are we going to see more classic and adorable Lucy in season 6? Season 4 and 5 are really angsty compared to season 1. They're still my favorites. Don't get me wrong.
We've got some good adorkable in season 6. It was. It's funny because I agree with you. I love silly Lucifer. I also like dark Lucifer. We always try to get a mixture of them. We try to get a classic case in there. We try to get something darker. We try to get something lighter. We have a couple episodes, season 6, that are of the lighter variety. And part of it was because we felt like we hadn't scratched that itch quite as much in season 5. And it felt like an opportunity to sort of hit one of those again.
8 episodes or 10 and 6?
10.
10. Excellent. Fantastic. That's good. Good to hear, man.
Yeah.
And we don't know. I mean, again, I always feel like a jerk asking as soon as a new season drops, but do you guys know when 6 will drop?
We do not know yet. We will hopefully know sometime soon-ish. Yeah, it's we are always excited to find out as well.
So like is the production office then closed? I mean, because you guys are done shooting. So yeah, really, because honestly, like talking to your assistant and stuff, he still refers to himself obviously as your assistant for the production and everything. And yeah, I'm like, so yeah, what level we're still in VFX, we're still in sound mix, we're still in all sorts of things. Like the episodes aren't complete yet. A couple of them are, but like we've got a ton of VFX. The finale is the most expensive episode of television we've ever made. Boom. So that one's taking a while. And it's awesome. Sherwin Schlotty directed our finale, and it's awesome. It is a fitting close to our story. So yeah, it's just there's a lot of VFX work, a lot of sound work, stuff like that. Knowing that the production is ending, because I guess I'm used to hearing the horror stories of past with network and production, and sometimes budgets being cut as it shows getting closer to the end or anything like that. Is this a different animal now in the world of Netflix? And
it's funny because everyone thought we got more money season 4 when we went to Netflix, and because they were like, oh my god, look at the Netflix money. And the truth is we've always had about the same amount of money. Okay. And through every season we've stayed pretty consistent. The one thing that's changed is we've gotten better at using it. VFX have gotten a little cheaper, and they've gotten better at doing it. We've gotten better at learning what we can do really well and what is harder for us to do. The only other challenge season 6 was COVID costs, and those were very expensive. Sure. And so a little bit of it was dealing with that, but otherwise we've stayed pretty steady. We've been lucky in that regard. That's cool. Oh my God, it was great to see right away. Boom, you guys are, last I looked, you guys were number 1. Yeah, I don't know if we are today. I didn't check, but I hope so. Yeah, that's fantastic. And if not, guys, what's going on? Come on.
I totally I get it, man. I love the double date too with
Oh, that was so fun.
with Lucy, Chloe, and then mom and dad. Well, Chloe's mom and Lucy's dad. That was great.
And we have Rebecca De Mornay. Like the minute that we talked about bringing God in, I'm like, we got to do a double date. By the way, it might have been someone else saying that, but you just like that is so much fun and so awesome. By the way, I have a question: have Chloe and Lucifer time without interruptions? Yes, you will have that.
All right, fair enough. That's cool. Is she still a detective in season 6?
It's a very good question. And that seems like a very interesting story to explore.
There you go. I like that.
Double.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
What
are we going to with Ella and Azrael? Because I want that. That is definitely a spoilers territory, so I will not answer that. We're gonna have the Dexter sex scene. We'll become vulnerable again. I'm trying to find questions I can actually answer.
I'm hip, man.
Can we get more flashbacks of Dan?
Yes, that was a good one, Liv.
Why would you need flashbacks? There's a guy who can go visit him.
Yeah, this is gonna. I can't. Poor Dan. I can only imagine what hell is like for Dan.
Right. Yep. That does seem something worth imagining.
Oh, poor Dan. Jesus.
Let's see. Lucy and Ella's song released soon. Oh, because you're right, because it wasn't on bloody Celestial Jam. Let me ask. Because we released a soundtrack of the musical episode, but that's not on there.
Huh.
Let me check. I don't know. They might be saving it because we have more songs in season 6.
Hey, that's great.
Oh yeah. Oh, there fantastic. Is one song in particular. Oh, it's awesome. It's So we have maybe my favorite one. It might just because it's new and shiny, but it is beautiful. So,
someone asked about what would your hell loop be, Joe?
Stuck getting questions from John over and over. My hell loop. It would probably involve, being stuck in high school and whatever deep insecurities are related to that. So.
Taking a test, no pants.
Yeah, there it is. Maybe getting network notes season 1. I don't know. Okay. Let's see what else. I
almost have to scroll up. Everyone, you guys are being great with questions. You're firing them so fast.
Season 5 bloopers and deleted scenes. Yeah. I know we have them. At the very least, bloopers. So I'm sure they'll get released at some point. I think they try to keep them for moments that can be fun for the fans, and so we definitely have them.
Had they released already 5A as a standalone DVD set?
I think. I don't know. I don't know what the DVD plans are. It's a good question. I usually find out they're coming out when it's on Twitter. So
okay, because honestly, just the question of physical media. I mean, it's in this streaming world, I think everyone would, and not from a cost-effective standpoint, they'd much rather you buy the season streaming or subscribe and stream it that way, and that is one of the great losses because people love bloopers. They love. I love commentaries.
I do too.
I'm so glad we do this.
Yeah,
because it's the closest thing I can come to as a commentary and stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
So,
all right. Let's see. What's another one? Godlike powers. Lucifer and Chloe both still seem saddened by his invulnerability around her. Will this be addressed in season 6? That is a great question. Yes.
There we go. Will we see the development of Linda's and Adriana's relationship in season 6?
We'll speak to it, but we pretty much finished that story up. So
okay, man, Linda, great strong arc, man. Way to go. I always tell you, I love Rachel Harris. Everything
Rachel is so good,
and really had a lot to chew on this year. It was a lot of fun. It was great.
It was very important to us to give her an episode that really focused on her, and to just showcase her. I mean, we love showcasing the entire cast; they're all amazing. But at times, Linda is often a vehicle of examining other people, and so it's always important to us to make sure that we remember to examine her as well, because it can feel deceptively like we're always exploring her, when in reality we're drawing everyone else out.
Absolutely. Yeah, her episode was fantastic.
Oh. Will we see Candy again? I can answer that one because we always try to find Candy stories, and we just weren't able to find one worthy of bringing Lindsay Gort back. But she's amazing. The character was amazing. We wish we could have, but we just, for someone like that, you want a story worthy of the character, and we had other stories to tell.
And is it Chad, the guy that Dan wanted to set up with
Carol?
Carol, yes. Someone had asked early on. We certainly hope that will continue and develop in season 6.
So this is a perfect example of those things that happen, and then you're suddenly going, okay, is this a bigger thing? So we were introducing Carol, and then and as we were introducing him, we got the call to do season 6 and asking whether or not we would. And suddenly we had this character who was going to be a bit more of a sort of just small role, and then we're like, well, wait, this guy could come back. He might not, or he might. And so I reached out to my friend Scott Porter, who's a very good buddy of mine, and I was like, "Can you do me a solid?" And it was very kind. He watches Lucifer. He loves Lucifer, and he was like, "If I do this, do you think I might be in season 6?" And I was like, "I can't make any promises, but you're awesome." So my guess is because he's like, I love the show. I'd love to be on it if schedules work out. And Ildy directed the episode. She directed his scene. And she comes to me, she's like, we need to find a story for Scott Porter and for Carol. And so, very long answer to say, you're going to see more Carol, and Scott's just the best.
That's excellent. Am I wrong? Scott Porter, Friday Night Lights?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, God, he was on Word Balloon decades ago.
He is a giant nerd.
He is a giant nerd, and a mutual friend is like, God, he really wants to be on Word Balloon. I'm like, that would be great. And he was doing Cyclops in those Japanese-made X-Men cartoons.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would love to have Scott on the show. Great guy.
He's the best. Guy. He's a giant nerd. You're not supposed to be that nerdy and that handsome, but somehow he does it.
No, I'm like, stop listening to me and spend more time with your fiance. I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, if I looked like you, I would not be listening. So yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, Scott Porter. And shame on me, I didn't even recognize him in the role. So that's great. I'm very excited, and that's wonderful to hear. Oh, this is interesting. What's your favorite board game, Joe?
I mean, Settlers of Catan most recently. I feel like that's a cliche answer. I love Risk. I love Risk. I'm currently playing Candyland with my 3-year-old daughter. She cheats, so I always lose, but I still have a lot of fun with that. So.
Excellent. Detective wants to know, is there a reason to Ella's darkness? I loved God's answer to her about her darkness.
Yeah, it's there's no mythology to it. It's just we liked exploring the idea of this like season 4 was about Ella having a crisis of faith, and season 5 was her crisis of self. It was about her feeling like there's a darkness to her, and we wanted it to be sort of what we all feel at times, that there's a part of ourselves that feels out of control, and it's not supernatural. It's not something special. It's very normal for everyone to feel a darkness, and at times to feel it stronger than others. So that's just it. She's just human, like all of us, and that darkness is what she struggles with every day, like a lot of people do.
Wandering Soul wanted to know if we're going to know why Chloe is a miracle.
We played with explaining it a bunch when she meets God, and then we realized we'd sort of explained it between the season 3 Once Upon a Time and episode 5, which is basically there was someone in Lucifer's path who could be unaffected by his powers, and she was that person that he knew would be in his path, and that's it. She's not any more special than anyone else. There was just sort of a sense that she was going to step into his way, and so let me give my son a chance to be with someone who sees him for who he is, and romantically, friendship-wise, whatever it is, that's their choice.
All right. I love Marcia's question. Why coffee from Bolivia, not from Brazil? Lucy fan Brazil, thinking that would have been a great time to honor us.
You know what? That is a great point. Brazil has been great to us. And,
are they as strong, Lucy?
Oh my gosh,
that's awesome. Fantastic.
No, we are very indebted to Brazil because you guys are huge. We do very well in Brazil, and I think Netflix notices. So thank you. I'll try to ADR it and fix it.
What are the other big countries for? I mean, I can see it having international appeal, regardless.
The funny thing is, the biggest countries seem to be pattern-wise heavily Catholic and heavily Christian.
That's
areas,
interesting. Yeah.
Which I think is amazing. And I think it's very telling because at first, we were like attacked as a show that was anti-religion. And then I think what a lot of people found is that our show is very faith-affirming. But also I think just a lot of people, even if you're lapsed, like I'm a lapsed Catholic, I think it still just speaks to the mythology like some people grow up Marvel people, some people grow up DC people. A lot of people grow up Bible people. A lot of people grow up in churches and they know the Bible. And so the fact that we're playing in this tapestry that everyone's very familiar with, but at times subverting those expectations, I think gives everyone a sort of built-in familiarity that has been compelling in a way that I don't think we even ever anticipated.
Understood. Someone was commenting.
Ooh, wait. Will Decker Star ever have a proper date? Yes.
Okay. All right. Fantastic.
It might still go awry, but they will have a date. So.
All right. Good to hear. And someone said too that they loved Linda's comment about chicken at dinner. And that makes sense. And it does make sense. Of course, that's his favorite.
I wish I remembered. I meant to actually ask the writers who came up with that. It might have been me. Usually when I think it's me, it wasn't. And it was just someone else. And I thought it was so good that I wished it was me. But that was one of those moments where we just, you wanted to find something for Linda to observe that could completely pull apart all of the tension and weirdness and be so obvious and yet so human. And I can't remember if it was a chicken meal and then we realized the joke, but I think it was we had the joke and then we made the meal chicken but either way, thank you.
Very funny. If you had, there we go. If you had to choose one single word to describe season 6, what would it be?
I've been asked this and I get in trouble for this answer. I'm going to say it anyways. Bittersweet.
I said
because it's ending, because we love it.
Well, sure, that's true, regardless. But yeah. Did they eat Ella's bathtub chicken in the family?
You know what? In my head canon, yes. God went like this, the bathtub chicken plopped. By the way, Ella took very good care of it, so it was perfect. All it needed was a little rosemary.
Exactly, that's the secret. We now we know the meaning of life is 42, and the secret is rosemary, a little more rosemary.
There it is.
So that's fantastic.
Let's see what else.
Trixie was mad at Lucifer, but they never reconciled. Will this be addressed in season 6?
By the way, Mike Costa has chimed in to say that he thinks it might have been Julia. So I think.
Okay. Hey, Mike.
I'm going to go with that. Julia Fontana. That does sound like a Julia Fontana joke. So,
Mike, you're always welcome back on Word Balloon. I honestly.
Mike Costa, who wrote Naked and Afraid, which, dear Lord, that episode. I just finished watching it, and I love it.
I'm so glad that he's, found such success writing TV. I'm very happy for him. He's a good dude.
Good dude, great comic book writer, totally fine TV writer.
Does Lux have a real kitchen that is not a wall of skin?
Oh, the mysterious kitchen. You know what? I'm going to leave it up to your imagination as to where the kitchen is and how it exists. We will never explain it. I think someone really wants to know about Mr. Set Out Bitch in season 6. And I'm gonna leave that one. I'm gonna leave it alone. I'm sorry, but I want to keep some mysteries. So, but I appreciate the question.
And a shout out from Russia. Always good to hear.
Yeah. All right.
Fantastic.
Thank you. The use of the F word.
Yes.
So we are allowed 3 F-bombs per year. And in season 4, we're like, oh, we can say these things. And early on, like all of a sudden, it's like the F word is like in the episodes, and we trimmed them all out because I was like, we are a family show of sorts. Sure. We're a show that everyone watches together. And so what we sort of decided is if we were ever going to use that word, we would earn it. And it had to be important. And then we very much realized, once we started to realize what Naked and Afraid was, we realized what we needed to do was use it for the end. And Mike is very sad because the line was initially because you shut me in the fucking face. But then we realized if you shot him in the face, the cut between episode 7 and 8 went away. So that had to go away. So that was a very sad day for Mike Costa. But in season 6, we have 2 F-bombs, and they are equally earned.
Fair enough.
In a very different way.
Will we get more of the Tree of Life staff?
It is split in half, so we will not.
Okay, fair enough.
Good question, though.
Let's see here.
Does COVID affect some romantic scenes? Good question.
Yeah, you read my mind, man.
You know, early on, we were a little hesitant about it. And then as we got our groove and figured out how to keep people safe. So long story short, there will be plenty of romance. It will not be 2 people standing 6 feet apart, telling each other they love each other and making air kisses. You still get you get some intimacy. You get, honestly, some maybe more in certain ways than we've ever done. So,
okay. Will we see anything of hell outside of the hell loops?
Anything of hell outside? Oh, you mean like through the hallways? We'll see. We will see more hell in season 6.
I like the hell loops. I think they're interesting.
I love the hell loops. Yeah.
Let's see here. What else we got? Was it God's plan to have Lucy and Chloe fall in love? Ooh.
I would say, personally, no, because it's not God's plan. But I think that's a little too manipulative. I think God put someone in Lucifer's path and let it be what it would be, and felt like these 2 would be a match for each other, but also choice. It's all about choice. And I think one of the things we really wanted to hit in season 5B was the idea of choice, and the idea that the reason God is mysterious is because he wanted to be to give everyone choice, and it would frustrate them and it would drive them crazy. But as a father, he wanted his children to be able to forge their own paths. And so we really wanted to hit that sort of the tragedy of his position, which is he wants to love. He wants to be clear. He wants to show his love. But in doing so, is he exerting too much opinion and power because he is God? And Lucifer realizing that, and realizing that the neglect from his father was coming from a place of love and not neglect. Whether or not that was the right choice of the way God did it, that's the way he did it. And at least Lucifer understands it now.
All right, here's a very nerdy question from Del.
Elaine Belloc. We talked a lot about Elaine Belloc. We really explored it, but Elaine will not be making an appearance in season 6. But good question.
How about if Lucifer is a kid like he does in the comics, and is Lucifer on Earth Prime with the other heroes, and the heroes are not mentioned?
Well, I mean, that sounds like some awesome fan fiction that I would very much enjoy.
Well, was the crossover on Lucifer's world, or did he, the Crisis crossover? I
mean, I'm going with yes until someone says no. I like to think that Constantine popped into the world, did Maze a favor. I'd love to read that comic book or something if anyone wants to do it. But I defer to them. That's their universe that they were playing with. We just got to, step in a little bit.
I'm hip. All right, that's fine. Let's see here. Will they be
in Earth still, or jump between Earth and heaven?
Oh, that's interesting.
That's an interesting question.
There you go. Very good. I have no idea how you guys did it, but I can't stop watching this show. I pay subscription for Netflix, but all I do is watch Lucifer. 5B broke my heart. I can't sleep. I never cried like this. Oh, Kate.
Thank you. I'm sorry. Thank you. We cried a lot making 5B. I mean, again, this was us saying goodbye. This was us testing our characters to their limits and then showing their strength in the face of adversity. And so it was really important for us to show just how strong they are. And a lot of times the way to do that is to put them through trials that test their mettle. And Ildi and I always say that us and the writers were all the biggest fans of the show next to you guys. And we wrote what would break our hearts. And so that was really important to us. And I appreciate that.
Here's a good nerd question from Jade. What is your favorite comic issue of any series?
Of any Lucifer series or in general?
I think I'm assuming in general.
Well, I'll start with Lucifer. I'll say any issue that had Gaudium, and I'm sorry I couldn't do Gaudium. I tried. I couldn't do him justice. And of any series at all, God, I've read so many good ones. What am I reading right now? Oh, I hear Shadecraft's really good. Issue 1 and 2 and 3 out in stores everywhere. I don't know who wrote this, but the art's great. So.
and everyone's very goddamn. As soon as I walk away from the comments, 20 more questions pop up. This is fantastic.
All right.
Let's see here. Who decided to include the line? Who decided to? Oh, wait.
Yeah, I don't know who wrote that. Oh, no.
Here it is. Yeah, I got it. Who decided to include the line, "You took the man I love from me. It rattled me to my soul, completely broke me"?
I think I wrote, Ildy and I took turns on the acts. I think I wrote that act, but having said that, the room pitches so much that it could have been anyone but me. We'll go with me. But it could be anyone.
All right. And you chose to make Dan the one that gets eliminated. But really, did you guys think about other possible deaths? Yeah.
This is a great story. So Kevin Alejandro comes in. So what we do is we have every actor come in a couple weeks into the room so that we can pitch them where we see the characters going, but also get their input. We want to have a sense of what we think the story is while also bring them in case they want to zig or zag a little bit or they have any thoughts or things we want to speak to. And so when Kevin came in, we pitched him where his character went. And he was like, "That's awesome. That's great." He's like, "Just for what it's worth, I've always wanted to I think it'd be really cool if Dan died. I think just with the arc he's gone on, everything he's done, I just think it would be really interesting if this guy who was the douche in the beginning dies and rallies everyone together or just is the tragedy of it, or I don't know what." He's like, "But also I'd like to really shoot a death scene." And we're like, "That's cool. We'll take it in mind. We think we feel really good about where we're going." And then as we kept going, one of the writers in the room was like, "Hey, let's go back to the Dan thing because that would be really interesting. And it would actually really fulfill his arc. And then there's all this other stuff that is now spoiler section because it's stuff that we'll talk about. We'll dig into in season 6 that it could help with as well." And we were like, "Okay, this is exciting." So then cut 2, we shoot Dan's death scene. Kevin's all excited. He's devastated and he's all that. We're shooting his funeral, and word starts to get around that we might get a season 6. And there's Kevin Alejandro like, did I just fire myself? Did I just kick myself off of the show? And we had a very honest conversation with him where we're like, "Listen, we have the story to bring you back, and we feel very comfortable about it to bring your in whatever form." Listen, Charlotte Richards, we had Trisha. And we loved Trisha, so we found a way to bring her back. I'm not saying it's going to be the exact same situation, but Dan, as a character, is still within our mythology. There is a way to explore Dan because he is in a place that Lucifer can literally go to.
That's excellent.
But Kevin was just like, "Oh, God, what have I done?"
It wasn't the regular crime-solving devil theme, 515.
Thank you.
Doing kind of, sort of.
Yes.
Better fit for the tone of the episode. Okay.
I remember it now. For a while, we actually thought about even just going silent on it. We were playing with different versions. And we were just, it's one of those things where we try not to play with it very much. But if we can earn it and make it feel worthwhile. And, this is the episode where it's like, hey, one last case, and bad stuff's coming. And so that was a nice opportunity to play with that a little bit. I remember now I was in the editing room with Hildy and we were just trying to figure out, it wasn't feeling right for the circumstances of the moment.
Okay. Detective wants to know if you ever read Lucifer fanfic. If you haven't, he recommends Believer on.
I will when the show is over. I guess now I will. The show's over. Wow. That's so weird. Because I try to avoid it, just because you just don't want to, accidentally encounter something that someone might feel like you stole later on.
Totally.
But I love fan fiction. I love the idea of fan fiction. I love the propagation of it. My first script of TV I wrote to try to get a job was fan fiction. I wrote a Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Fan fiction is a great way to learn how to write. It's a great way to learn write someone else's voice. It's also just a good way to have fun. So I support.
That's awesome. Let's see here. More new comments. Oh, will there be another girls' night? Yes, please.
You know what? I do not think we have another one. I think
okay.
We tried to do one every other season, and so that was the last one. Great question though.
Excellent question. Absolutely. Let's see. Oh, and another vote for when you get a chance, read Believer. The writer's so great at that. She felt like she was a screenwriter on the show. Oh, that's cool.
Awesome. That's great.
Good callback. Absolutely. Let's see. When the devil walks the earth and finds his true love, evil shall be released. And when Lucifer sacrificed himself, he burst into light. Was evil being released as he was saving Chloe?
This is a great question because I feel like this is something we made subtext and not necessarily as much text as we'd have liked to. So, yes, to me, it's basically evil being evil shall be released. The idea is Lucifer is letting go of his own hatred towards himself. He's letting go of his own sense of evil. He is forgiving himself. That was a very big part of it. It's like it could be the demons coming out. It could be all those things. Like there's a lot of different ways to interpret it. To me, it's him starting to. In Superbad Boyfriend, he says, "Why do I hate myself so much?" And to me, the end of season 4 is him starting to learn to love himself.
A lot of people are asking, maybe they joined the conversation late, about when season 6 will drop. We did address it. Joe doesn't know yet.
TBD. Hopefully soon. I have no idea. We still have episodes in post, so soon is a relative term because it takes a while even after we deliver those.
Which was a harder emotional scene for the actors to film? Dan's death or Chloe's death?
Yes. Oh, that's a great one.
Maybe not.
I know Dan's death was really hard. For one, they were in this like dank underground tunnel, and Lauren just when Lauren goes somewhere, she goes somewhere all of the way. And I think she actually got sick after shooting that because she just put so much into it. But at the same time, I mean, you know, Tom doesn't phone anything in. So, man, I mean, I would go like this with them. They're both just to me devastating death scenes.
Oh, well, here, Fancy Troublemaker. What was your favorite musical number, Joe?
Having just rewatched, I think Amenadiel and Linda's. I gotta say, like, I was rewatching it. I was like, oh, I mean, I'm a dad. It just hit me. Like, I love all of them, but watching it this time, that's the one that I feel like doesn't get as much attention for being as just sweet and nice and heartfelt and really culminating their story. Rachel's great in it. DB is great in it. And just the fatherhood thing just really, really hits me. So that's my new answer because I literally just rewatched it and I was like, oh.
That's cool. How did you guys shoot when Lucifer and Michael are together in a scene? Well, yeah, you mentioned there's a double. And yeah you know, because I always remember hearing about Orphan Black and the elaborate robotic camera moves that they
sometimes you do a lock screen, so you shoot one actor and with the other actor, and then you have the other actor come in. Sometimes you have and we didn't do this very much because the technology it takes time, and if you're not used to using it, Orphan Black got used to using it, but you can do like a camera move and have it timed out so you can replicate it. So what we usually try to do is you try to move the camera and then stop, and then on that stop is when you'd have a character walk in or have those things happen, so that then that's a locked screen. It's called a lock off, and then there you got it, and then you can have a character move in. You just have everyone freeze, have the other character move come in, do all that. So that's how we did it most of the time. Sometimes we digitally replace the face, like when Lucifer's holding Michael. Sometimes we got all sorts of fancy in different ways. There's a bunch of face replacement this season in many different ways. A lot of stunts. We were able to actually face replace Tom on a couple stunt people, things like that. Stuff we hadn't really done before, but because we were doing so much with his face, we got better at it.
Okay. And Lakshmi wants to know, will Trixie find out about Celestials?
That's a very interesting question. Let me actually get back to that other question, though, really quick. So another thing, family dinner, which again was 14 minutes long, that was amazing when it came to what Nathan Hope, the director, did and what Tom did in it, because so much of it was Tom having to be present in both characters, Nathan shooting it in ways that made it feel like they were all in one place, and yet obviously not. And that was it was 2 days straight of shooting. It was supposed to be like a day and a half, and it took longer because it was just so complicated, so tricky. We would just shoot through every single time. So it's like 12 minutes of shooting no matter what, and that just it eats up a day. But also it was amazing because it was a play. It was awesome.
And people are asking why Lauren didn't sing.
We let everyone choose whether or not they wanted to sing. Yeah.
Okay. People keep asking.
You don't want to put any pressure on people. Like,
oh, sure,
everyone should be allowed to do what they want to do.
understood, absolutely. Let's see, and then will Trixie and Ella ever find out who Lucifer really is? I feel like Trixie kind of knows, and I think Ella should know because her thing is faith.
That's very interesting.
Fair enough. Let's see here. Okay, we already asked. People are still asking after we've already answered.
Oh, Jade Mills, great question. Any update on Shadecraft Netflix and Skyward from Sony? Jade, great question. I like that you're keeping it on the important stuff. Working on my Shadecraft pilot. Skyward is currently being rewritten by a much better writer than me, and I'm very excited about both. Skyward hardcover is available right now. It's beautiful. Shadecraft is in stores right now, local comic stores.
Excellent, man. Yeah. 3 issues of Shadecraft so far.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Fourth out at the end of the month.
Excellent to hear. Very good. What's your favorite Deck Star scene in season 5? Decker Star, sorry.
Decker Star scene. I mean, 505. The very end where Lucifer and Chloe come together. Like, I love that scene. I love being able to arc their separation for 5 episodes and then have Chloe be the one to realize what being a gift from God meant and that she isn't the gift from God. And in doing so, make herself vulnerable to Lucifer. That was very beautiful to me. It was a wonderful thing to be able to write. I think they killed it. It was just a great scene to be able to do.
Excellent. Asking, Marina wanted to know if Shadecraft will be in Brazil anytime soon.
I hope so. I think we're about to start hearing from international distributors, whoever wants it, and so I would love. I think Skyward's done well in Brazil, so my hope is that we can have Shadecraft down there too. So if you know any publishers, feel free to reach out to them because I would very much like that.
Ahmed wants Lucifer and Chloe to call each other certain nicknames. Babe, maybe.
I guarantee there's some nicknames in season 6. I'm not sure which ones they are, but they're in there. So.
Oh, and they're wondering why there were no scenes with Lucy and Eve together.
There was one, and we trimmed it. In fact, maybe there'll be deleted scenes of that at some point because it just felt a little superfluous, and it didn't dig enough into the two of them. But it's funny because breaking that episode, 513. I was insistent. It's got to have Lucifer and Eve. I mean, he hasn't seen her. It's so important. And then when we watched the episode, we're like, this is slowing down the story. It's not about the two of them. It's about Maze and Eve. And so we trimmed it. And don't you worry, we will have a very meaningful Lucifer Eve scene in season 6.
Very cool. Where did God go when he retired?
Disneyland. No, he went to Mom's Universe, which has centaur people, which, by the way, is a reference to the comic. So there you go. We've been trying to get centaur jokes. In my headcanon, in Mom's Universe, Centaur Dan has been her boyfriend, and now she has to break up with Centaur Dan, and because God's there. So that's my headcanon. I'm sticking to it.
Someone asked if there's going to be week releases in season 6. That's more of a Netflix question, and I don't see Netflix. It's interesting, Joe. I don't know how you do feel about that because to me it seems when it does come out weekly, there's more water cooler time for people to really think about the show and discuss it. Rather than, I mean, I love that. I love both. I love the option of watching it all in one hunk or being able to watch it episodically. But what do you think?
I love watching once a week. But having said that, I also really like having it there. I mean, I miss the experience of being able to watch the fandom react to episodes every week. I do. Like, I love that because it separates it out. At the same time, I love the ability of the fandom to be able to digest at their own speed.
Sure.
There are some shows that I get incredibly frustrated when there's only one episode a week. But at the same time, like I just finished watching Mayor of Easttown, and I can't imagine not watching that one episode per week. So I think for shows like that in particular, I think there's an incredible value to letting the water cooler exist. Listen, if they came to us and said, we'd like to do this weekly, I'd be like, awesome, great. But at the same time, I think that is Netflix's model, and I love that too. is this way, the binge. So.
Yeah. No, I can appreciate that. Someone had a good question, and I can't remember what the hell it was now. And Love from Sweden. How was it shooting the hospital scene with Trixie?
I mean, I went to visit, and I had to get out of there because it was so sad. Poor Ildy was directing it. I don't know how she didn't just bawl the entire time, and the whole cast was just overwhelmed. Like everyone was already bringing it, but Trixie just brought it to another level. Scarlet,
sure. Ahmed, much love from Qatar. Very nice.
All right.
Yeah, I love
international. I love it.
We are totally international. That's really wonderful to see. And thank you, everybody, for.
Who is your favorite angel?
Yeah, that was the question I wanted to ask. Yes, indeed.
Well, this is an easy one because I think the angel of giving is my favorite angel. He's the handsomest. He's the nicest. He is Hanyobadil, the angel of giving. Scandinavian.
I like it. That's fantastic. And I loved Gabriel was as a gossip and everything.
That actress is so good. She was so much fun. That she was awesome. That was a fun character to be able to bring in. Joe Field was super fun. Like it was Zadkiel. Like it was fun to bring in the family. It was fun to be able to explore it a bit. I loved bringing Remiel back. She was just a wonderful actress. We've been looking for an excuse to get her back. What about Father Frank? So Father Frank, one of my favorite guest actors we've ever had. Coleman's just amazing. He's a little busy right now, but we might have one last reference to him coming.
Ooh, okay, cool. Because I agree. Father Frank was amazing. It was
it was one of those episodes and one of those relationships that helped us really know what the show was. And so we will try to honor him in some small way.
That's cool. Will we see more angels in season 6? Different angels?
Yes.
Cool. Outstanding. How'd you choose the name Joe Stone?
I'm hoping Costa's still watching and can text me the answer because I do not remember. Someone literally might have just said and his name's Joe Stone. Man. See, this is the problem of having a show release a year and a half later is so much I don't remember. But by the way, that was probably the fastest episode we've ever broken. So because we'd been talking about this episode for 3 years, but also we just had so much fun throwing random stuff from Dan's past back at him. And so it was just he's Joe Stone. Moving on. First pitch, best pitch, not in the lazy way, but in the we've got this. Yeah, he's Joe Stone. Don't overthink it.
That's outstanding. Let's see. What motivated Lucifer's original rebellion? To God, it's a tantrum, but obviously meant more to Lucifer.
Yeah, I think Lucifer is his own worst enemy. Lucifer is always self-sabotaging, and I think Lucifer felt inadequate. He wanted to be his father. And he wanted to step up. And so I think it was all just his rivalry with his father and his own self-sabotage. More importantly, Mike Costa says that Joe Stone is another reference to the Brian Bosworth movie Stone Cold, which
outstanding.
There are many references to because Jason Ning, Mike Costa, and a number of writers were very big fans. So
that is hilarious. That's fantastic.
This is really helpful, Mike. If you could listen in on all of these because you remember things a lot better than I do.
Why am I missing Mike's comments? Is he popping?
Oh, he's texting me.
Oh, he's texting you. Fantastic. That's great, Mike. Outstanding, man. Christ, I'd send you the link and have you pop in next time.
Right? There you go.
Well, and no pressure, LD. But I would love to have both you and LD.
You know what? This is my mistake. I actually meant to invite her and surprise you with her, and then I forgot until this morning. So I wrote her, and she's like, "I'm a little busy." No worries. And I was like, "All right, well, next time I'll actually give her a warning." I think I say that every time, and then I forget because I'm. But I will make sure Ildy's on the next one because you would love talking to her. And
truly. No, and really, I'd love to hear more about the two of you together, and as much as you can talk about the writing staff and everything.
Yeah. I mean, that would be fun.
Absolutely.
I mean, honestly, the show is as good as its writing staff, and our writing staff's amazing. So that's why every time I'm like, I don't know who it was, because any gem could be any of us, because that our staff has been amazing.
And here, a good question from Detective Ouch. How do you? I assume that's Ouch.
It's Detective Douche, but
it is. Oh, it is
yeah.
Douche. Excuse me, I didn't see the D. How do you choose which line will become the title of each episode?
So, great question. Sometimes we have it in mind early on. Sometimes we find it in the script. There are times where we go through the script and like have a list of 5 options, and there are times where we'll add a line of dialogue after the script is written to get a good title in there because we feel like we don't have a good title. So, like there are like I think at 2 Doctor, we literally added that in because we wanted that to be the title of the episode, so we just had to find a place for it. So it is entirely dependent on what we want the title to be or trying to find it. Titles are hard. We made it even harder by doing that, but it's also fun.
When Lauren didn't want to sing, had you guys already picked songs potentially, or was it first actor wants to sing, let's find a song for that actor?
It was more just what actors want to sing, what kind of things they want to sing. So it in no way affected anything. It's just we were just, hey, if you want to sing, tell us what kind of thing, us what you feel comfortable with, and then we'll build from there.
And Tom's range still just blows my mind. I mean, he really, when he sang "Wicked Games" at the start of the episode, I was just like, so apropos as far as the song, and yeah, he hits those high Chris
so
Isaac
good.
notes. Good Lord.
Yeah, it's annoying. He should not be that talented.
It's true. Oh God. Let's see.
Why did Michael stab Chloe in the stomach and not the heart? Why did Thor hit Thanos in the side instead of on the neck? Sometimes you just don't hit the right spot.
That's hilarious.
Or maybe deep down, he hesitated.
Did we already answer this? How long was Chloe in heaven?
Indeterminate length of time. And I saw some questions about how long heaven moves relative to Earth. And I think she was there enough to have a little bit of time with her dad, have a picnic, and that's about it. So time does work differently there, but things were also moving very quickly. So 3.5 hours.
Yeah, exactly. Can you pin it down? Yeah, again, the Dan episode was amazing payoff. That plan for revenge was never forgotten. Agreed.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a great coordination between Mike and Chris. And if you look at spoiler alert, you'll see pieces of Naked and Afraid on the board, as well as a lot of red herrings to hide it. We were afraid of telegraphing it too much so that it would spoil the episode, but also we wanted people to be able to look back and see it. We love having those little Easter eggs of interconnected episodes. Like a lot of you guys noticed, I'm really happy about between episodes 508 and 509, we had introduced a security guard who wanted to dance Footloose, and then in episode 509, he's up there dancing to Footloose. So that was a fun. There's a lot of those sprinkled in, and they're fun for us to sort of put in there.
Marina liked the programming exec joke at Fox.
And by the way, we say that with love. Fox gave us 3 seasons. We are very grateful to them. The show would not exist without them. And we have a lot of friends there who were just as sad, almost just as sad as us. And I got so many emails when Netflix picked us up from Fox executives.
That's great.
They were so happy for us. So sometimes the business just doesn't work. And so those are all loving barbs, mostly.
Lucinda wanted to know who had the Russian, again, now 25 more questions. Whose idea was to have the Russian mafia love from Russia?
I think we'd already previously established some Russian mafia, and we were trying to do callbacks. I can't remember. I'll wait for Mike to text me.
All right. Katie wants to know where she can get official Lucifer merchandise.
Me too.
Oh,
I fought this fight for many a year, and I could not. We are a weird show where we're not the normal DCU, and we're not part of the. I think honestly, Warner Brothers just doesn't know what to do with us. And as much as we tell them, just release something and see how the sales go, and then you'll know that our fan base wants the things. I think just for whatever reason, we're an in-between show that no one knows who's supposed to handle. And every time, like for example, we almost had a Funko Pop. And then we got canceled season 3.
And
then we almost had another Funko Pop, and then it was announced that season 5 was the final season. So it's like all these times we're like, oh, well, oh, but no, the show's ending. And so I've multiple times had momentum and then lost it because of various things. And then the gears just have to start all over again. And I have given up. Mike Costa says it was indeed. It was a callback to the Russian shenanigans we've had in. It was the Russians that Dan and Mays fed Chloe's dad's killer to. So that's it. Callback to My Little Monkey. Yeah.
The merchandise problem sounds like the Batman 66 problem for years, because it was a DC product, but it was made by Fox Television. And for a long time, that's what kind of held up newer iterations of Adam West Batman merch when they could have made more money, and finally they untangled it, but it wasn't easy.
Yeah, no, it's there's a lot of well-intentioned people who want to make that stuff, but bureaucracy often gets in the way, and so I just want a Funko, but. Did
you guys, and I didn't see it, did you have Funko, self-made?
Oh, yeah, there's some custom ones that we have. And yes, I don't know whose idea it was. It could have been set dressing. It could have been one of the actors. It's always funny what suddenly, it could have been a toy of one of the actors that they forgot and left on set. That's happened a couple times.
Why does Chloe have a slow-mo movement looking around at everyone? The music sounding sad. What is the significance?
Oh, when she comes back to life, I assume this is. It was just the idea she's coming back and she's sort of, coming back into her body in the world. And so it's sort of like her looking around and she's back, but Lucifer just died. So it's both triumphant because she's back, but Lucifer just burst into flames or seems to have died. And so it's a very, very bittersweet victory for her, and we wanted to reflect that.
And by the way, people are asking about, Hammer Time. We did cover that earlier in the conversation, so we can have people rewind
that stuff. But yes, basically it is one of my favorite moments because it's the most epic moment of all time. So, of course, they improv Hammer Time.
Why do
everyone wants that pic that Lucifer took from 512? Let me try to find it. I think Tom actually had it. I think he sent it to me. I'll try to find it. It's great. It's awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, absolutely. There you go.
Thank you for letting Chloe kick Michael's ass.
That was great. Yeah, I'm so glad somebody pointed that out.
We were so happy to be able to do that. Because so much of it was, too. It's like, she's a bit of a pawn in all of this, and we wanted to end it on her actually being the one beating the living shit out of Michael.
Absolutely.
That felt right. It felt so much of what we always are looking at is Chloe's agency and making sure that she's really driving story and driving action, but it's tough when she's a human. And so realizing in that moment that we had this object that could make her super strong was a real discovery and a real exciting moment because Lauren doesn't get to kick ass on her show as much as we'd like, and that was fun. I guess. Will you ever explain the Mojo swap in 507? I would like to explain that right now because there was no Mojo swap. Lucifer thought it was a Mojo swap, but what ended up happening was she thought she was mojoing people when in reality all she was doing was drawing out Lucifer's desires. Lucifer was making himself vulnerable to her. Everyone else was a coincidence that she realized later. So she didn't get Lucifer's mojo. What happened is Lucifer's mojo went on the fritz because he self-actualizes. And in that moment, he wanted to be vulnerable around Chloe to the point where he actually became afraid of being vulnerable around Chloe and shut down. So the mojo swap was actually a bait and switch. It was actually just Lucifer himself malfunctioning.
And then the slow motion scene they were talking about was the crime scene slow motion scene. I guess not the here. I'm trying to again. Everyone's moving so fast. Here it is. They meant the slow motion thing where Chloe was looking up at the crime scene. What did that mean?
Can you give me an episode number? I do not. I mean,
yeah. Sorry, kids. I'm not sure either. But yeah. Let's see here.
Did the Tree of Life have any significant meaning to the story? What we wanted was something that could take a couple whacks from the Flaming Sword because it's supposed to be able to cut through anything. And we felt if one thing could, it would be the Tree of Life. And then if anyone would wield it, it would be the Angel of Righteousness And so that we sort of work backwards from that is we needed a weapon formidable. And I like that what a lot of people have noticed is it's staff versus sword. It's defensive versus offensive. I wanted Lucifer to have a weapon that was not just used for war, but could be used for peace.
That was cool. Absolutely, man. People keep asking about Charlie's mortality. And how is he mortal? What, you know?
I mean, he is where he is right now. I see the answer to the other, or the what was the crime scene one?
This one here. After action returns from the time freeze, she comes out.
Yeah. What was the question? You guys gotta help us out here.
Why was it in slow mo?
You mean when she just walked? Yeah. Just dramatic effect. It looks cool.
Yeah. Sure.
I get it. It's tricky when you're slowing down time and not slowing down time, and then she walks out and it's in slow mo. The honest truth is, like, to her, she's just confused and bamboozled because Lucifer was right in front of her, having this incredibly emotional moment, and then he's gone. And listen, he can fly. She knows he can just whoosh out, but at the same time, it was like, what the F is going on? And this one says the slow mo is from 5:15. You know what? I'm just gonna stop answering slow mo questions because you guys clearly have very. The answer is dramatic effect.
I understand. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Will Chloe have side effects after being resurrected?
Interesting.
Okay. Let's see. Oh yeah, and here's another one. Did we say goodbye to Lucifer's devil face in season 5?
Interesting question.
Very good. Okay, there we go. Will we see Maze's demon face again?
Good question.
All right.
Wait, there was a good one that I just saw.
Yeah, sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Why did God blow Dan up? One of my favorite moments of season 5B is God exploding Dan. And I think it's because he was sleeping with his ex-wife. Some things are very basic, but he put them together. He put them back together.
Let's see. Yeah, people keep asking, will we see Dexter flying together?
That's probably because it would be a really iconic thing to see.
Yeah. You know, I'm just throwing it up there for you to say that. Exactly.
No, that sounds like a really cool thing to see.
That might be a final scene in my perspective. And again, that's me saying this. So yeah, whatever. But yeah.
Maybe that might be cool.
Is Dad not omnipotent when it comes to his kids? Deliberately, maybe?
I think that is a wonderful question. And I think it's very interpretable. To me, God is omniscient, but at the same time, there are different paths they can go down. So in my headcanon, he knows every path, but he still pulls himself back a little bit to that point to allow his children to not necessarily surprise him, not surprise him because he knows that is a path, but surprise him on which path they choose.
Trixie made Charlie laugh in 501 before Lucifer showed him his silly devil face in 506. Does that mean Trixie is celestial?
I think Charlie just likes either really cute children or devil faces. So,
let's see here. What is this? Does Lucifer's character change after becoming God? He's being kind of majestic at the end of 5-2, I suppose.
He was.
5-16.
I'll dodge the first part of that question and say, to me, a large part of the way he was acting was his self-actualization and self-awareness of his love for Chloe and the peace that he found within that. So that is not necessarily him exuding God. It's more to me about the journey he went on and the peace that he found.
Will we see Dennis again?
Good question.
Excellent. Someone's asking, who was God praying to in the family dinner scene when they were praying? I like that.
That's season 7. Great question.
I understand. Significance of devil drawing by Trixie? I know that.
Yeah, it's super cute. It is significantly cute.
Is Rory an important character in season 6?
Yes. Brianna Hildebrandt in season 6. She's awesome. So great.
There you go. Let's see. You know, someone was asking about the sexuality of all the characters being fluid. If you could explain, do you want to explain?
I mean, it's very important to us to reflect that a lot of our characters are open, bisexual, pansexual.
Sure.
I'm going to use the terms wrong because I'm not as fluent with them as I should, but we try to be as reflective as possible. Maze is pansexual. I'm just going to stop stepping into it because I always try to make sure I'm saying the exact right things because it's important, genuinely important. Yeah, we really want to reflect that as much as possible and reflect the open-mindedness of our world.
I understand. Are you running out of time, buddy? Where are you on time?
Yeah, let's go on like 2 more minutes because to be honest, I gotta pee.
I respect that. Good Lord. Hey, middle age. This happens. Stop drinking. How did
Zadkiel know the lyrics to Hammer Time? All right, I'll tell you my in-canon version, which is that Zadkiel has revealed in this moment that he is actually much more interested in the human world than we ever knew. The truth is that Joel, the actor, knew the lyrics incredibly well, and we just thought that was hilarious, and it would be really surprising if Zadkiel of all people jumped in. So that was not planned, but he knew the song so well, and we were like, oh, that's funny because no one would expect it from him.
All right. Someone said that they appreciated the explanation of the sexuality, and I think that's great.
Awesome.
So
yeah, it's important to me, and I'm still trying to educate myself as much as possible so that I am as aware and as good an ally as possible on it.
Why wasn't Rory around for the big fight?
That's an interesting question.
There we go. Another clue, kids. Consult your Zapruder film and start putting things together.
By the way, a lot of angels weren't there, so just saying.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know, Joe. I'm trying to see anything else here that's here.
Oh, we might be. We might have gone through them all. We might have gotten you guys. I mean, I know there's a bunch in here. Let me try to find. Let's see. What's the thing that Chloe likes that Lucifer alludes to? I will leave that to your imagination. Was there significance of Michael's wings being cut off? Yes. It's Lucifer learning to forgive others as he wishes to be forgiven, while also, I think, a nice thematic parallel to Lucifer cutting off his own wings and giving Michael the same path he went on, for better or worse.
Will Chloe remember Lucifer saying "I love you" because she seemed like she found it hard to remember what was happening on Earth?
Yes. Let's end on that one. That's a good one.
That's a good one. All right, there you go, bud.
Thank you, guys. This is awesome.
Hey, seriously, you bombarded us with questions so quickly. Half the time when I was putting something up, it jumped to another question. So well done, and excellent questions. And Joe, as always, great hangout.
Crazy fun.
Come back. We'll talk more Shadecraft if you want, as when the arc finishes. And yeah, bud, there you go. Absolutely available through Image Comics, kids. The first 3 issues, 4th issue coming out at the end of the month. And yeah, hey, what's stopping you from watching season 5B over again? I'm certainly going to.
Keep us number 1, guys.
Absolutely. Congratulations, Joe. Seriously, to cast and crew alike. Costa, who's texting you, well done, Ildy. I hope to talk to you eventually. And yeah, seriously, dude, as always, great conversation. And thank you for doing this. It means a lot.
Thank you. And thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you for paying attention. Thank you for noticing these details that we sweat to put in there. Like the fact that you guys notice it, appreciate it, means a lot to us. So thank you.
Well, there you go. Absolutely. Thanks, everybody.